You go, boy.
Whoa. Hey, this a vibe, nigga. Whoa. Woo. Secure the bag, I need more. Hey, 3P Jordan. Whoa. Woo. I can't keep it on a low. This a whole vibe. I don't need a plug, no cosign. Thinking out loud, that's a gold mine. Mask on, yeah, COVID-19. Baby mama, yeah, looking like Rihanna. Rest in peace to George, rest in peace Brianna. Still kicking like Van Damme with my niggas in Amsterdam.
Hey world, hey world. Oh man, where's my camera? Where's my camera? How you doing? It's your boy, it's U-Goboy. Welcome to episode 11. Episode 11, double digits.
Made it to the big time.
Of the U-Goboy podcast. I'm U-Goboy, that's Mongo, that handsome face.
What's up, everybody?
You see that beard? You see this beard? You see the dynamic duo? What's up, baby?
Go. Ready to go.
It's sports talk time, baby. Oh yeah, it's about that time. Live from Bravery Studios. Woo! The home base. Oh man. Before we start, as always, shout out to the subscribers, old subscribers, new subscribers. My favorite number I keep spouting. I'll spout it again. We just crossed 500,000 views on YouTube. Yahtzee!
Right.
Give me a Dom DeMarco. Give me a Dom DeMarco. Yeah, baby. Half a million, half a ticket. That's what the kids call it. 500,000 views on YouTube. I think it officially, as of now, as of this recording, I think we're at like 511 or 512. But loving it, man. Thanks as always to subscribers, new subscribers, old subscribers across all the social media platforms. You guys are blowing up this channel, blowing up this podcast, blowing up the TikTok, blowing up the Instagram, everything, man. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Love you guys. All the heart emojis. But again, you see that face, you see this face. It's sports talk time. A lot to talk about before we do, of course. We gotta pay the bills. U-Goboy merch is here. We're merched out. I got the merch.
You go, boy.
Mongo's got the merch, hats, hoodies, gold chain sold separately. But yeah, grab yourself some U-Goboy merch. Link is in the bio, in the description, as always. Shout out to Teesprings for hooking your boy up. But yeah, this is Sports Talk. It's about that time. We're at the third quarter of the NFL.
Ooh, it flew. This was a very fast, wild year.
Flew by. And it's fitting because it's so wide open. We're going to get to it. We're going to talk about third quarter of the NFL talk. We're in week 14 now. By the time this drops, it'll probably be playoff time. But of course, we're going to do a playoff preview or 1 week into the playoffs. We'll definitely get that to you guys beforehand. But NFL recap for sure. Free agency, MLB talk as well. Yankees made some moves. Mets made some moves. A lot of money was spent at the winter meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of billions with a B. Aaron Judge, all rise. Here comes the Judge. I mean, he's coming back on a new fat contract. Guaranteed. That's how they do in the major leagues. Everything's guaranteed. Shout out to the players union.
Yeah, good for
making
them.
That happen.
Good for them.
So yeah, lot to cover. And of course, Jets talk and Cowboys talk. Can I get a JTETS Jets?
Let's go.
That's from Mongo. And can I get a how about the Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
One more.
How about them Cowboys?
You love to see it. 10-3. You'll love to see it. Dallas Go-Boy is not here. He's pissed off for a lot of reasons that we'll get to.
Bye week. He's on the bye week.
He's on the bye week. After that Texans game, he's on the bye week. But shout out to Dallas Go-Boy. He told me out of his mouth, the Cowboys beat the Eagles on Christmas Eve. Ooh. He's showing up and he's cutting another CM Punk promo going into the playoffs. So stay tuned for that. But shout out to Dallas Go-Boy.
Well, now I might be rooting for Dallas. I want to see that. that's reason enough. If you're just a mid-level fan,
exactly. He deserves his own show. That guy's ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous. Dallas Go-Boy. Shout out to him. But yeah, let's kick things off first and foremost. All rise. Here comes the Judge. He just signed a new 9-year deal, if I'm not mistaken.
9.
360 million smackaroos. Can I get a Dom DeMarco for that? Goodness gracious. That's a lot of chicken. That's what the kids call it.
That's 40 a year if you're doing the quick math out there. If you have a good math teacher like myself.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing there.
For sure. So Judge resigns. He's a Yankee for life. we almost had a scare. I texted you some bad information from John Heyman.
Ooh, that was fun.
John Heyman gets a savage, 1,000%.
Savage.
He reported a little quick to the draw there,
Yes.
reporting that Judge signed with the San Francisco Giants, his hometown team, childhood team. But no, Judge stays with the Yankees. Mongo, how did it come together? Where do the Yankees go from here?
So first of all, I mean, whatever the opposite of a shout out is to John Heyman, but then shout out to John Boy Media, who immediately then had a video of Heyman sitting in a corner at the hotel looking sad by himself. You want to talk about savage? That was the savage move.
That's a savage.
They immediately called him out on that. That was absurd. But from what we're hearing, it sounds like that was a wake up call to Cashman, and Cashman did what any good little boy would do. He went and ran and told his parents that somebody was picking on him and he needed help. And word on the street is Hank Steinbrenner got a call out in Italy of all places, because that's naturally where you are during the winter meetings, and a series of calls going back and forth international. Cashman just racking up the phone bill at this point. They went back and forth, and Hank basically said to Aaron Judge's people, what needs to get done here? What does this need to be?
Yep.
And we talked about it on the last show. 9 was really the magical number, or more. I mean, Aaron Judge would have just taken a Bobby Bonilla style contract if he could have.
Dom DeMarco for that, please.
But
he's still getting paid by that.
Bobby Bonilla day, the day. But he knew he wanted 9, and I had said on the last show, I still don't like that number. But if I give me 7 over 9, but I guess at the end of the day, give me 9 over 0.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll take what we got, and especially the way the market was unfolding. I had said, on our last show, if we could get enough pitching to change the dynamic of this team, you could afford to lose Judge. But as the pitchers seem to be going off the board quickly, Kershaw resigns, DeGrom, literally does the old, I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes and never comes back. I mean, he literally, 8 p.m. Friday, he just disappeared.
Savage.
Did nobody else notice that? Dude just straight up disappeared. Just straight up disappeared in the night. And he woke up in Texas the next morning.
He did the Homer disappear into the grass.
Into the bush. Yeah, if you're a fan of that meme instead.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel.
But as the pitching came off the board, it was very clear that their best chance the next 3 years was to at least still be the same thumping lineup they were, and you're not doing that without Aaron Judge, especially. I mean, who was the next outfielder off the board? I think it was Kevin Kiermaier. I mean,
you texted me that.
Yeah, the depth chart. I was begging them to sign Jock Peterson before he opted in with San Francisco.
Yes, you were.
So the depth in the outfield was not good. I mean, Benintendi's still out there.
He's still out there. I'd still like him.
And he might be the next biggest name out there now. But once with Nimmo likely going back, which he did end up going back for his own monstrous contract.
True.
This went from sort of questionable. Where is the team going to? We have to do this, not just because of what it would mean for fandom, what it would mean for his legacy, but it was the best move for the team once the pieces that had fallen had fallen.
Oh, absolutely. Dom DeMarco for Mongo, as always. On point. Wow, I want to drink. Anyway, I mean, the guy's 6'8". His presence in the lineup, besides his physical stature in the lineup, would have left a massive crater, not just from a physical standpoint in the lineup, but of course, public relations standpoint.
Right, absolutely.
The fans would have revolted. Mm-hmm. Like, they would have been in front of the stadium. That would have been a nightmare.
There's
for them
literally
to try to clean
seats
up.
in right field they would have had to dismantle. He has his own section
We
of
sat
the
in
stadium.
front of. So for those who don't know, me and Mongo, along with his lovely wife, and shout out the Wild Thing, Steve.
Hey, you got your shout out, Steve. All right.
He deserves a savage too. He's a savage, by the way. So we sat in front of Judge's chambers when the Yankees played the Rays. Mm-hmm. Of course, they lost, but still, I think Cole was pitching.
I think so. I think you're right.
Cole was pitching, so we were excited, and the offense was in a funk at that time. But still, Aaron Judge has a literal part of the stadium named after him. To not re-sign him, he's the biggest, besides human, biggest figure in New York baseball since Derek Jeter. That's unequivocal. Mm. He was also given the captaincy as well. I think that was negotiated between him and Hal over the phone. You can't not sign him. And we were talking about this in sports talks as well as off the air. You can't lose him. You just can't. If it's an arms race, you can't lose him.
Absolutely. And the one guy who I would argue might sneak in that timeline between Jeter and Judge in New York baseball. Remember when Harvey Day was a thing? Remember when Matt Harvey literally owned
for the
this
Mets.
town? But he owned it for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Then he had that weird fight during the World Series, and then his career just completely derailed.
True.
But Matt Harvey could have been a thing in this town for many, many, many years. We could have been telling our kids about Matt Harvey, but he's going to just be a blip on the radar because of how short his tenure was.
Right.
If you let Aaron Judge go, I mean, he would forever be in the record books for what he did last year, and he'd be back on old timers days, but he wouldn't be remembered the same way. Now he is going to be an absolute all-time legacy Yankee.
Absolutely. And when I say when, I got to speak into existence. That's how I live life. When he comes through in the postseason, the legend just grows.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeter was Jeter. They wanted him to be, the next shortstop or the next face. But when Jeter started delivering in October and was a part of that Yankee dynasty, that's what catapulted Jeter into the Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig territory. And I believe Judge will get there. He's got to get at least one ring, maybe two. I don't think he's going to get 5 like Derek, just because the parity is just ridiculous and the Astros still exist. But I think that once the postseason success comes, the legend will only grow. I really believe that. Speaking of the Yankees and making more moves, what's next? What do they have to do next to catch that team in Houston, the reigning, defending, undisputed? I feel like Paul Heyman. Give me a savage for that. The undisputed world champions, heavyweight champions right now, the Houston Astros. What do the Yankees have to do to catch those guys?
I'll give you it this way. My name is Mongo Heyman.
Savage.
And I would actually like you. Can you take a little journey with me for a second?
Absolutely.
Oh, let me get my camera here, as you would say. The year is 2026. We're taking a trip into the future here. The year is 2026. Elon Musk now owns everything. It is somehow still Biden versus Trump for the presidency. I don't know how, but it still is. And in the last 3 years, the Yankees have won 95 games every season with no World Series championships. The Astros have now won 3 of the 4 previous World Series.
So the dynasty continues.
And the Yankees finally get some freedom. It's in that 2025 offseason that Glaber comes off the books, that Rizzo walks off into the sunset and probably joins Boone's managerial staff. Garrett Cole will opt out at that point to at least refix his contract. That's where you finally, and that's where a bunch of the Houston Astros, legacy players also finally hit free agency. So that's where you're actually looking right now. And when you look at that 2026 offseason, that's where you have Roderick Arias finally ready to come up with his awesome defense and play shortstop. Anthony Volpe with his decent defense moving over to second. Trey Sweeney with his god-awful defense but good arm moving to third. Oswaldo Cabrera will have settled into left at that point. Jason Dominguez will be Rookie of the Year as a center fielder. And then somehow at age 70, Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu, and Stanton are still somehow on this team. But it just keeps going, right? Austin Wells will be the catcher at that point. Randy Vasquez, who just threw 8/9 of a no-hitter in the Double-A World Series, will be a number 2 on that team, either behind Cole or Cortez at that point. The point is, you have a ton of youth ready to go for roughly that year, and that's where you're going to make your move. That's the part of the contract where Judge is going to either make that October legacy or not, where he's batting second with a lot of these young guys around him. So what do the Yankees need to do this year? 2 things. One, any contract that they either sign or trade for that lasts past 2025 is a clinical and critical error. They cannot do that. This team has 8 to 12 young prospects ready to go in that timeline. Do not waste them, especially because we've made it clear we don't want to trade those guys, right?
True. They're
so
untouchables.
If you're now going to use them, that's the time to be using them. So whoever you're going to sign here, in and out by 2025 for sure. The second thing, with all those names I just said, where's Oswald Peraza in this?
True.
You have 1,000 upcoming shortstops, each with a unique skill. Arias has the better defense. Volpe has the better offense. Sweeney has the better arm. He's the guy who's just at everything. Even Cabrera is more flexible, in the field. So what you need to do this year, I know they have this weird man crush on IKF, but Peraza needs to be playing every day, and you need your number 1 priority this year, trade deadline. You need to move Peraza for a pitcher with less than 3 years of eligibility left on their contract. Because as of right now, Montas and Herman are not going to last pitching 60 games as your 4 and your 5.
Agreed.
That is not sustainable.
Those are long-ending bullpen guys at this point.
Absolutely. So let Herman, let this team as it currently is constructed start. Let Herman get the first 10, 15 starts of the year, but feature Peraza and eventually trade him for Herman's replacement. Agreed. Herman, by the way, one of those other contracts gone in 2025.
I love it. I love it. Dom DeMarco for Mongo as usual.
Let's go.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Talking here on Sports Talk as usual, episode 11 of the U-Goboy podcast, live from Bravery Studios.
Oh, that feels so good.
I love it. I love it. So a little bit more into what the Yankees are doing now, as well as let's segue into free agency talk around what everybody's doing free agency wise. Do you want Rondon? Do you want Carlos Rondon in this rotation to pair with Garrett Cole, to pair with a Severino, to pair with a Nestor Cortez, who I still think has maybe 2 more magical seasons in before he hits the wall and goes back to the bullpen?
That's fair. I'll buy that.
Should Rondon be in your opening day rotation? If you're Brian Cashman with a beard, of course.
He would look better with a beard, as we all would. Let's be real. Short answer is yes. The money obviously needs to work, and also depending on how many years you give him dictates what your plan is. If you're signing him to say a 6-year contract, but you know for a fact Garrett Cole, you're not going to go and try and re-sign him when he has the option to opt out in 2025. Well, okay then. You'll repay Sevy in 2024, and moving forward, it's going to be Sevy, Rodon, and like you said, Cortez, as long as we can take him.
Yeah.
If you can get Rodon for 1 year, if he ends up being, how there seem to be all these guys who at the end of free agency don't deserve a 1-year contract, but are like, I got to go somewhere. Let's do it.
I got to play. Yeah, right.
Offer him whatever fantastical made up, bazillion D number you want to make. I would take him for 1 year for any amount of money. The only way you're going to beat the Astros is if you just outpitch them in October.
Facts.
Your team cannot keep up with their pitching is significantly better than yours right now, and you cannot keep up with their hitting either. So you're going to have to outpitch them. So if you can get a 1 chance shot at that, go for it, because they literally were dangling Lance McCullers as a sacrificial lamb in Game 4.
We called this.
And we couldn't even beat that. So if that at the very least moves Sevy down to Game 4 and they can win that, that's at least one problem solved. So absolutely, if you can get them on a short term. Long term, you got to be thinking puzzle pieces. You got to be thinking, what does that mean for 24, 25, 26?
Agreed. I 100%. I mean, plus he has a lifetime ERA under 2 against the Astros, and he does have a strong distaste for the Astros for the whole cheating scandal.
Don't we all?
As we all do.
The one thing I don't like about him, though, I will say I've never found a player who the media gives less attention to how to properly pronounce his name. The bounce back between Rodon and Rodon this entire offseason has somehow turned me off to this guy through no fault of his own. But if that's going to be what it means, let's say we sign him to a 3-year deal and it's just 3 years of making up this guy's name, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can sign up for that.
I mean, the accent mark over the O kind of gives it away. You would think.
I was going to say
you would think.
Nope.
But, New York media and baseball media, they're different.
We'll give him a nickname. It'll be fine.
For sure. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. So Mets give a ton of money to Verlander, but then again, they had to because DeGrom was an absentee father to their rotation, to their organization.
That's real rough.
How do you feel about Verlander going to the Mets to pair with Scherzer? I mean, this deal would be incredible 4 or 5 years ago. But then again, Verlander might win the Cy Young, so I still think he has some good years left in him. But Scherzer, health-wise, is my question mark. That was my question mark even when he signed with the Mets. And when the Yankees passed on him, I'm just like, Scherzer gets hurt. He does.
Yeah.
He does. He's Mad Max, and he's great on the mound, and he's pitched in the postseason. He's won a World Series with the Nationals against the Astros, ironically enough. But age and health is why I kind of gave pause. Verlander going to the Mets. How do you feel about that?
I like it because of what happened next. Going out and then signing Senga and Quintana is the key to this, because what that does more importantly than anything is it takes David Peterson out of the rotation. And so now you have a 6th guy just sitting there ready to clean up everybody else's mess, and a pretty decent pitcher at that. I'd actually like to see them re-sign Seth Lugo and then have 2 guys who can do it. But so on days where Verlander needs to go on the 15-day, and miss a couple starts, I'm okay letting David Peterson, go the first half of, May or something like that.
Fair.
They said, Kodai Senga, another one of their big signings, looks like he may have some control issues as he's initially kind of adjusting to America. All right, well, if there are some games where he can only give you 2 1/3, let David Peterson go the next 4.
Sure.
By having that guy, similar to, when Ramiro Mendoza was basically just there to clean up the mess in the 90s. He was such an underrated asset for that dynasty in the late 90s. Having that guy who basically you always have a plan B ready to go. You can have older pitchers, you can have some questionable starters, but that moves Carrasco down to 5, he's also old. This lineup.
True.
No, I don't believe anyone in this rotation is going to last 30 starts.
Give me a savage.
Sorry.
Savage.
It's true. But if they can all go 20,
That was cold. Man.
and sorry, but I think 20 is a reasonable number for these guys.
Yeah.
If they can all go 20, and I mean Verlander's best 20 starts last year were very good.
Really? Yeah.
Quintana's best 9
true.
were elite. His best 20 were pretty good. But his best, once he moved over to St. Louis, I mean his best 9 were very, very good. Sanga, I'm sure if we were to go through and pick out his 20, I'm not going to bother. But if you go through and pick out his best 20, I'm sure they're very good. The point is, if all 5 of those guys go 20, Peterson goes 20. Let's say you bring back Lugo and he goes 10. Okay, well now we've gotten to the 130 starts. Now we only need to manufacture a couple minor leaguers coming up, a couple bullpen games. Now we can survive that. So by having basically 6 or 7 starters there, I like what they did.
Okay, for sure. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Dom DeMarco for Mongo as always. On top of it. Let's see. Before I ask you where Correa goes, let me give my theory of where Carlos Correa should go. He should go to the New York Yankees. Give me a bomb. Give me a bomb. Go scorched earth. Listen, you're not better than the Houston Astros.
No, you're not.
You're not.
You're not even close.
And this is coming from 2 diehard Yankee fans. You're not. You're just not. I went scorched earth. I dropped the CM Punk bomb in episode 9. I just posted on TikTok. I went in. You're not. So in order to try to accelerate that gap there and bridging it, get Carlos Correa. Get a former Astro. Like, why the hell not?
I'm sure he knows what they're cheating on. I'm sure he knows what the latest scandal is. So,
He knows what the trash can scam is anyway. So my thing is, you get Correa, you put him at short, you leave the kids down, you designate IKF for assignment, you keep Glaber on the books. Because again, I don't know how healthy DJ LeMahieu is. They said he's still not healthy, which is terrifying considering he still has about 2 or 3 years left on his deal.
Higher. he's around for a very, very alarmingly
5
long
or
time.
6. Who knows?
He is the Stanton of the infield.
He is, yes. Speaking of Stanton, Stanton's contract is still on the books until 25-25. God, like, if they redid Futurama with the Yankees, Stanton would still be playing. Like, that's how long Stanton...
He'd be in Blurg's ball for sure.
For sure.
He'd be playing Blurg's ball.
Absolutely. Him and Bender would be playing baseball together. So my thing is, Correa, from an offensive standpoint, is the best free agent out there. You pair him up with Judge. Hopefully Glaber gets his act together. You somehow get DJ healthy. Again, and Stanton, when healthy, Stanton has shown that he can still swing it for now. We'll see how long that lasts before he completely goes off the cliff, because we know it's coming.
Right.
It's definitely coming.
But again, sorry to interrupt you, but again,
go for
it's like what I just said with the Mets pitching. If you can have Stanton not having to bat 3rd or 4th 150 times, if he's batting 6th, all of a sudden that looks much more impressive. So it's not a matter of getting him, or even if LeMahieu's batting 8th, in 2 years, I'm A-okay with that. So it's not necessarily getting these guys all out of there. Now, Donaldson and IKF, we got to get them out.
Yeah.
They are not one of the 9 best guys in any major league lineup anywhere.
Real quick. Where's my camera? I said this before. I'll say it again. Give me a Dom DeMarco, please. IKF, you gotta go. And they just re-signed him too, which is madness. Like, he can go. Josh Donaldson, wow! Like, you got those 2 guys. And my thing is, like, they're not helping you win now. Like, I'm thinking of this 2 to 3 year window right now of just trying to do everything you can to catch Houston. Because it's Houston and everybody else.
Right.
Not even looking at Boston. Boston just lost Bogarts. Well, let's get into that real quick. But my thing is, you're trying to catch Houston. In order to do that, you got to bang with the bangers. You need some firepower to help compensate for what you don't have. It can't be Aaron Judge or bust, which is why he fizzled out. We talked about it. Why he fizzled out in the playoffs.
Right.
He was carrying the team for 2 months. It's a 162 game season. Like, you need more firepower. You need more bat speed, more energy in that lineup to compensate for what you don't have. And pitching is a question mark unless they get Rodon
Right.
or Rendon,
Whatever you want to call him.
however you want to pronounce it. It's like I see Correa as that is a 100% Steinbrenner move. He's like, who's the best bat available? You sign him.
Let's go get him.
He's the Teixeira of this free agency
I like
class.
that. And
that's how I look at it.
And we'll break down any of these moves you want to, after this, if you want to go further. But just a quick look around the rest of the league. Bogarts goes to the Padres. Turner goes to the Phillies.
All the money in the world.
Right. You see, you see the Braves making this move for Sean Murphy. Your
Dodgers just got Swanson, I think.
Oh, the Dodgers just got Swanson?
Yeah, they just
awesome.
got Swanson,
Beautiful. Again proves my point here further. The NL is gearing up for an absolute war this year. Meanwhile, you look around the AL, again, I keep using this guy as a joke. I apologize. He's actually a good player, but Toronto makes a big splash and gets Kevin Kiermaier. The rest of the AL is well aware this is the Astros world and we're all just living in it.
Exactly.
So if the Yankees are the closest team, they have the best shot of being able to make moves and not really. I mean, Tampa Bay is putting all their eggs in on Zach Eflin. That was their big off-season move.
Give me a Savage move, please. Lord have mercy.
And I'll even say I like that. I like the move. I think he's going to be this year's Ryan Yarbrough for them. I'm okay with that.
They're a small market. They run things differently. They're more volume than
Right. No, and I get that, but I mean, Jose Abreu could have been a piece that could have shaken up because at least he's a veteran, he knows what he's doing. He goes to Houston, right? Houston just says we'll just keep getting richer. Josh Bell was the big signing for Cleveland, a team that was living and dying by the bloop single signs a guy who's incredibly streaky. Yeah, that makes sense. It's been a very generally rough offseason for the AL collectively as a whole.
True.
The Yankees are not going to be challenged away from second, so they might as well push for first. You're right in that sense.
Agreed. Because think about it. You got Rizzo, Judge, and Stanton. You can't live and die by that. The Astros just swept you and showed you that doesn't even that's a pebble at us. Mm-hmm. As crazy as it is to say that, it is.
No.
You need someone or maybe two other major primetime bats to help bridge that gap. And it's not Gleyber Torres. And health-wise, until proven otherwise, it's not DJ LeMahieu. That pains me to say that. I love DJ Hits. That's my guy.
Yeah.
But he's not healthy right now. And you don't even know when he's going to be that guy again, if he's going to be that guy again. Because he's on the other side of 30, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he's up there.
So, yeah, go in. You have the money to do it. Is there a salary cap in baseball? I don't think so. Last time I checked. There's luxury tax. So,
that everyone else seems to be forgetting exists. So if everyone else is just going to go for it, and the problem, on top of everything else, the answer you're going to get is, well, Harrison Bader looked really good in October, so that's going to be a quality bat. Maybe. I mean, he's really fast. He plays good defense. Sure. But if that's your plan, let's rely on this guy who has a track record with us of 2 months. I don't like that. Again, tell me Harrison Bader's batting ninth. Flipping over the lineup like Brett Gardner used to.
That.
Sign me up in a heartbeat. Tell me that Harrison Bader and Anthony Rizzo are batting 1 and 3 around Aaron Judge. Enjoy getting swept. I mean, and it's not like they got swept. That could have been a 9. That could have been an 11. That could have been a 15-game series. They might have snuck out one.
True.
It was not even remotely. It was a shellacking. There's a word we haven't used on the show in a while. It was a straight up shellacking.
Savage.
It was not good.
Absolutely. Mind you, when you got Bader, he was coming off major injury.
Right.
So play a full season in center field. It's asking a lot.
Absolutely.
It is. So I'm interested to see what else Cashman has up his sleeves. He knows he's got a lot of work to do. Again, I'd go Correa. I would. Or Benintendi. I mean, you got moves out there to make. You really do. There's offense out there. You can't tell me there isn't.
I'd go Benintendi. Sure up that leadoff spot.
He works better for the ballpark. He's a lefty.
Yeah.
And contact.
The other thing is the Giants are seemingly so angry at this point. You got to imagine the number they're going to offer Carlos Correa is going to be some absolutely made up number. Somebody out there should get just absolutely bought by the Giants. And you said it, and you're right now, especially with Swanson off the board. Correa now has a market onto his own where he can set a fantastical price. The Giants are really the only ones left who are like, we got to do something. We'll match anyone. I think Correa goes to the Giants solely because of supply and demand. But in terms of fit, if I'm Carlos Correa, either looking for another championship or just looking for a more enjoyable experience by being with a better team.
Right.
I mean, the Giants can add one superstar and still easily come in a distant third. And if the Rockies' young prospects ever put it together, it could be fourth. The
Exactly.
Giants haven't had a necessarily long track record with this current iteration. So they're definitely the third best team, though, if they add one more star.
They're not even close to the Dodgers and the.
I could see Carlos Correa shunning them.
Padres, yeah.
But if Carlos Correa is just like, I'm in it for a payday, which after taking the short deal with Minnesota, you could see him possibly doing that.
For sure.
I think he goes to the Giants. But I like that you saved all your bombs for that one take right there.
For sure. I mean, that's
nice.
what I do. That's what I do. If we drop bombs here, I mean, give me a Dom DeMarco, please. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Sports Talk, episode 11, U-Goboy podcast. I need some water. But we're going to get to NFL talk. I've been waiting for this. I saved, I cut it in half on purpose. You see what
I like
we're
that.
doing
It's
here?
good math right there.
It's good math there. Good math here.
Yahtzee.
First half, well placed. Good job. We got Marv on the boards, as always.
Let's go.
Live from
Marv.
Bravery Studios. So, first half was Major League Baseball talk. Let's get to the NFL. Hunger Games, as I call it. The NFC is NFCing. The AFC is AFCing. Right now, it's we'll go conference by conference.
Okay, I'm ready.
Before we get to Jets talk and Cowboys talk.
I'm not ready.
Can I get Jay TS Jets?
This is my level of enthusiasm to have this conversation tonight.
For sure.
Whoopee.
It's okay,
It's been a rough couple weeks.
So we'll do AFC and then NFC. So let's start
good.
with the AFC. Your folk,
Absolutely.
your stomping grounds. Bills and Chiefs. They look like they're on a collision course once again, but don't be shocked if Cincinnati
The
and
Giants
the Fighting Joe Burrows
Oh my gosh.
find their way to Arizona because they've got the makings. The offensive line's playing better. Joe Burrow is doing Joe Burrow things. He's healthy. They have the run game. Joe Mixon's a little banged up now. Jamar Chase is banged up too.
P. Ryan can ball, though. I mean, that's an
Ryan-
elite backup running
He
back.
could run
right
the
there.
rock. I can't believe I'm saying that from somebody from the Pac-12. But yeah, P. Ryan's he's balling. Cincinnati's got it cooking, and Burrow and Zach Taylor, whatever the guy's name is, the head coach of the Bengals. They know how to beat.
Yeah.
They know how to beat Mahomes.
Absolutely.
They know how to. They've conquered that hill more than once now. I think Burrow is 3-0 or 4-0 against Mahomes.
Yeah, it was something like 3-0 against Kansas City and 0-4 against Cleveland coming into last weekend, or some absolute
which
nonsense
is ridiculous
like that.
on so many levels. But c'est la vie. AFC. How's it shaking out? Where do you see it going? I think it's those three teams and everyone else. Like Dolphins have lost me. They really have. I don't see the high flying action. If they're going to do what they did against the Chargers, they might be one and done. They don't scare me like they did early on. I feel like teams have adjusted, and that's typically what happens in the NFL. Teams adjust. But how do you see the AFC shaking out right now, currently with that three-headed monster that I talked about, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo?
Yeah, it's crazy for a couple reasons here. The first is I think Baltimore's a little too banged up. I think they're going to fall. Their schedule's soft enough. They have the Browns and the Falcons, 2 of their last 4. They're going to hold on to a playoff spot, but I think they're banged up enough that Cincinnati will catch them. And once they do that, it's why there are 4 teams fighting for the 3 wild card spots, and it's such a good race and it's so exciting. But they're literally all just playing for the right to be savagely beat down in wild card weekend. Like it's
Savage.
The Titans are at least
Savage.
remotely beatable. But you don't want to get run at by Derrick Henry, and you definitely don't want Mike Vrabel out-coaching you because you know he's going to bring his A game every time, and he's very tough to knock out in the playoffs. It's also interesting because you would think that you're playing for the 1 seed because you're trying to, get that bye and you're trying to get home field. I'm with you. I think the main prize of being the 1 is that you don't have to play Cincinnati first. There is a huge, huge difference between hosting Cincinnati after having already played a game the week before or coming off a bye and getting the Titans, who will at least be a little bit tired, having had to run Derrick Henry 200 times the week before. So that's really what you're playing for. With that being said, I do like the Chiefs ultimately overtaking the Bills. The Bills have to make a little bit of a run here through the AFC East plays itself a lot in these last couple weeks.
Yes, they do.
And everyone is playing for something.
Oh, yeah.
The Patriots are, I'm assuming they're beating the snot out of the Cardinals as we speak. I can only guess. They know how to use Hunter Henry. The Cardinals can't stop tight ends. So I'm assuming that by the time we get done talking, the Patriots will have the tiebreaker be the 6. The Chargers and the Jets will be right there at the 7 and 8, but they're all tied for 6. So I think the Chiefs get the Bills, but I'm with you. I think the Bills are strong enough, smart enough to hold off the Bengals. And I think you do see the Bills and the Chiefs playing in the AFC Championship, ultimately.
Nice. Do the Jets make the playoffs?
It's like that scene in basketball where they're talking about the bracket, and it's like if Denver ties with Oklahoma City, then Tulsa, Sioux Falls, and Charlotte play in a triple threat round robin. It's that nonsense joke they make, and I don't know the whole skit, but you know what I'm talking about. The Jets basically need to beat the Dolphins is what it comes down to. The Jets get very, very lucky here because they're playing 2 hot teams in the Lions and the Jags. The Jags have shown something. The Lions are lightning hot, but the Lions are a much worse team on the road, and the Jets get them, here in Jersey. And then they get the Jags on a short week, which for a young team and an experienced team, that's where you want to get them. You want to get them on that Thursday. They then go at Seattle and they play Miami. So I'm going to go ahead and put them at 2-2 conservatively. The problem is the Chargers have the Rams, the Broncos, and the Colts. So that's 3 wins. We're not catching the Chargers.
True.
So it comes down to, can you get past Miami? Miami does have New England and Buffalo also, and Green Bay. So let's assume they split elsewhere in the division. They beat Green Bay. It comes down to if the Jets meet Miami, they have the tiebreaker, they're in. If not, they're out. Do I think they can do that? Absolutely. Do I think they will? Unfortunately, no, I do not. I think if we were fully healthy, I think if you have Breece Hall, I think if you have Elijah Vera Tucker, you can beat Miami. You do beat Miami, but I think the Jets end up being the team on the outs here by just a hair. But the problem is they can also get in if New England beats Miami. But then if New England goes on a run, they pass both Miami and the Jets. So you either need an absolutely bonkers dream scenario where the Patriots get upset a couple times but upset Miami, or you have to beat Miami.
I would love a wild card weekend. First of all, Dom DeMarco for Mongo as always. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'd love a wild card weekend scenario where you guys get in as the 7th seed and face the Bills.
I would love.
Sign me up. That'd be fun.
And honestly, that's one of the main reasons I think that they have a shot at doing it, because Saleh is this weird prophet where anything he seems to say seems to come around. And his receipts hot take of the week was we'll be seeing the Bills again. And I don't imagine us getting to the 6 or the Bills dropping to the 3. So the only path there is if we're the 7, or if the Bills are the 1 and we find a way to beat the Chiefs. But that's really the dream. If the Jets get to the 7 and play the Chiefs, I got to go with Prophet Saleh. I got to take the Jets over the Chiefs. But
he is Islamic. So could be part of it.
I don't see it happening, which is really a shame, because again, I think next year, remember, and again, not to go too off track here, but next year they basically start with 3 first-rounders joining this team because, Vera Tucker will be coming back. Breece Hall, who I know was a second-rounder, but he really has the talent of a first-rounder. For sure. And whoever they draft are all coming back. Free agency-wise, and we'll talk about this more when we do the Jets, they're in pretty good shape. So not, it won't be a complete disappointment, which I think, not that factors in, but, there are certain teams that kind of have a shorter window that might be playing with a little bit more every game matters. If there's any team that I can see just mentally slipping up, it would be the team that's kind of on borrowed time anyway, which of these 8 teams, I do think is the Jets.
For sure. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Sports Talk, episode 11. We in a building. Live from Bravery Studios. Bravery up. Love it.
Love this place.
So that's the AFC. Let's talk NFC.
The junior circuit, as it were.
It's the Eagles' world and everyone's living in it. They get 3 savages. Can I get 3 savages?
Savage.
The beating they put on the Giants, Lord have mercy, that was not suitable for work.
No, it wasn't.
Like I was streaming the Cowboy game because, for those who don't know, if you live in Jersey or New York or the greater metropolitan area, you're subjected to Yankees, of course, and Mets. But of course, football-wise, Giants, Jets, mandatory every Sunday.
Right, and then in the off block, you either get Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes. That's pretty much.
Yes.
That's pretty. You get
Yes.
the best. You get the best quarterback playing, which Dak is not bad by any means, but he doesn't have the fame of those other guys, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So you're never getting a Cowboy game around here.
Exactly. If it's a 1 o'clock, and we had a lot of 1 o'clock games this year, a lot more than usual. You had a lot of 1 o'clock games. If it's a 1 o'clock Cowboy game, the Giants take precedence. The Jets take precedence. So I'm streaming the Cowboy game on my phone, and I'm locked in. We struggled with the Texans, but we pulled it out because of Rain Dakota Prescott, first of his name. Give me a Dom DeMarco for that. Game-winning drive by Dak. I swear, Dallas Go Boy told me to say that. Cowboys pulled it out, but as I'm watching it, I'm peeking up, and I'm just watching the Eagles score touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It looked like an Alabama versus Colgate University game.
That's about right.
Like oh my God, they beat the snot out of the Giants, and they're 12-1, and they're rolling. Nick Sirianni is still a jagoff. I don't like him. I don't like his face. And he needs sleep. He's very sleep deprived. Have you seen the bags under his eyes?
But doesn't he fit perfectly in Philadelphia?
He
Isn't
looks
that guy
exactly
perfect for Philadelphia.
He looks like a Philly native. As someone that went to Penn State,
Such a great fit.
Lord, yes, I guarantee you, he says John after every sentence.
That's probably fair.
Goodness gracious, but no, Philly's rolling. They're the class of the NFC. Can't deny it. Jalen Hurts, right now, it's Hurts and Mahomes, 1 and 2 for the MVP. 1A and 1B, however you want to slice it. Eagles look amazing. I can't wait for that Christmas Eve game. Absolutely. Can I get Dom DeMarco for that? I might go to that game. No ticket, just show up. Like, let me in to watch this. Because that's going to have some playoff vibes to it, Cowboys, Eagles. Without Cooper Uber Driver Rush, with Dak Prescott, first of his name, at quarterback. But yeah, NFC looks top heavy.
For sure. It's a nice way to put it.
That's a great way to put it. Give me a savage for that.
Savage.
You have the Eagles, Cowboys, Minnesota, and of course San Francisco with Brock Purdy out of nowhere. Like Brock Purdy, he reminds me, I know it's sacrilege to compare a Cowboy and a 49er. Cowboy Nation, forgive me. He gives me Romo vibes.
I thought you were going to say Cooper Rush vibes.
give us savage this guy.
I was so ready for that. Caught me off
He's a
guard
third
with that.
stringer. He's Mr. Irrelevant. Was the last person selected. He should have Cooper Rush vibes, but no, he's giving me Romo vibes, who's also undrafted, coming out of Eastern Illinois. But Brock Purdy has the 49ers rolling. He just doesn't care. He's like, all right, I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Brady's on the other side. We'll hang a 35 on him.
Yeah.
He outplayed Brady.
Ooh.
Like it looked like a guy in his prime versus an old man hanging on. Mm-hmm. No disrespect to the GOAT, but all the disrespect to the GOAT because he played terrible.
Yeah,
he was awful. Rough game. But then again, that 49er defense, it can make you rough. They're not suitable for work as well.
Absolutely.
You got a point?
It's going to be so we're in the New York greater area here, and so the New York lovers, let's call them what they are, on the radio around here are saying it's Daboll and Field for Coach of the Year, and he's doing a great job with what he has there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's running on fumes, and it's tough to say the Niners deserve a Coach of the Year nod because their defense is so elite. But as good as Brock Purdy looked, that's Shanahan's system.
True.
The fact that he has now taken 3 quarterbacks, he's just give him anybody, he'll make them work. You got to start looking at him for Coach of the Year at this point
he's
because
gonna get some votes.
any other team just play quarterback roulette. And look at what happened to Baltimore. If Justin Tucker wasn't the Steph Curry of kicking, they couldn't do it.
I mean, coaching has to save the day, especially with quarterback play. You've seen this with Salah with your team,
right?
I've seen it with my team with Cooper Uber Driver Rush at quarterback. We've seen it. And you see it with San Francisco. They're on their 3rd quarterback.
And it doesn't.
It's hard.
It doesn't matter.
It's hard to do.
if you were off this planet for the last 4 months and you came back, and I said identify the backup quarterbacks playing today, you would have not found Brock Purdy.
No,
at all.
No. And the flip side to that, I know unequivocally there are a handful of coaches that could not overcome that.
Correct.
I do not see Philly rolling with Gardner Minshew. I don't.
No.
I don't. That's just me.
And he's
just me.
And he's honestly not probably. He is better than Brock Purdy.
True.
He's a better quarterback, but he would not be used as correctly.
No. That their whole offense changes.
Yeah.
All the read option stuff, our RPO stuff is gone. It's just out the window. So, but again, with the NFC, it's going to be interesting because Minnesota gets no love.
No.
And it makes sense that they get no love because the Eagles went not suitable for work against them.
Correct.
In Philly.
Dallas.
And Dallas
Right.
went not suitable for work. They chose violence when they went to Minnesota and beat them 40-3. So, and Minnesota's over here needing game-winning drives to win every week.
Right.
And it finally caught up with them yet again. Who they just lose to?
They lost to Detroit.
Detroit.
Lightning hot Detroit all of a sudden. Watch out.
The fighting Dan Campbells. They lost some kneecaps there. But the NFC is going to be interesting because that Christmas Eve game, I think, will be for everything. I really do.
Really?
I think the Eagles, they win that, the 1 seed's done. It's done right before Christmas. Merry Christmas to Philadelphia. That would ruin my Christmas, but that would be game, set, match. They're the 1 seed. If Dallas wins, mind you, that means the Eagles have to be perfect. They got to be perfect this upcoming week against the Bears. They got to be perfect in their last 2 games. One slip up, they're playing the winner of the NFC South.
The Carolina Panthers. Let's go.
Let's ride.
If you're going to bet on anybody, why? Is it possible to take Field? Can I take Field in that? I know there's only 4 teams in said field, but give me Field.
Insert Alabama or Georgia.
Yeah, it's the Southeast, right? Can't we just put the SEC All Stars in there and see what happens?
For sure. Dom DeMarco, please.
That's a wild
Oh
one.
man, it's things. Wild times in
Yeah.
the NFC. Wild times with the seeding. I have no idea how it's going to shake out past 1 and 2. I think Minnesota. I feel like they're locked into the 2.
Yeah.
I don't think. Who do you think's catching Minnesota?
The Niners.
You think the Niners do?
They have a decent schedule the rest of the way. That defense Minnesota's offense will crack before the Niners' defense cracks, in my opinion.
That's facts.
So I think they can lose one. Now, the key would be I have no idea who has the tiebreaker between them.
Yeah, I think it will come down to. First, it will come down to conference record, then common opponent.
Right, which I have no idea.
So,
I didn't
yeah.
bother to take. Sorry, guys.
As the math teacher.
I let you down there. I didn't bother to check out the Vikings conference record before I came in here today. That's a mea culpa right there. So I could see it being a tiebreaker and coming down. Now, with that being said, with all due respect, the Lions, bravo to them for taking the strategy. Let's just get 12 wide receivers on this team. Play like we're a Pac-10 offense and see what happens. Bravo to the Panthers for not giving up. After the disgrace that was the Matt Rule experience, finally shipped. Pete Carroll's never an easy out per se.
True.
With all that being said, the 2 and the 3 seed is basically whatever the opposite of deck chairs on the Titanic is.
Agreed.
They should easily
Savage
be
for that.
finding
Lord.
each other.
Savage.
I love the analogies,
And
as always.
especially because good fandoms both, but in terms of, places to play, it's not Lambeau per se, it's not Philly per se.
True.
If just on a tiebreaker I end up having to travel for that next round game, I'm not. If I'm San Fran, I'm like, man, if only we were home, we could beat the Vikings. We have no shot on the road. I don't feel that way, and I don't feel that way on the Vikings either. I think I think if I'm Minnesota, I need the home game more, so they may try a little harder down the stretch. But that game is going to be. I still take the Niners over the Vikings with all due respect. Going back to what you were saying about the respect.
True.
But I don't think it really matters whether I have to play the Giants to get to that, or I have to play the Commanders, or I have to play the Seahawks, or whoever I end up stumbling in on as the 6 or the 7. I'm not really afraid of anybody underneath me.
True. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Sports Talk. We're winding down, but we got some time. Real quick, can I get the how about them Cowboys? Por favor. I need
How
it.
about them Cowboys?
I'm going to take a second, once again, to talk about Dak Prescott, first of his name. Rain, Dakota, the one and only. That's my quarterback. This is what cracks me up about, we often talk about here, where's my camera? We often talk about ESPN and Fox Sports and the wrestling promo shows, the hot take shows, the Colin Cowherds of the world, the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, the Nick Wrights, the Bart Scotts, the Dan Orlovskis. I can go on and on and on. The hot take guys, the guys that actually, some of whom actually know football. Dan Orlovsky actually knows a lot of ball. Like, I've watched him break down plays, and it's beautiful.
He doesn't know where the back of the end zone is.
But he doesn't know where the back of the end zone
But
is.
otherwise, yeah.
But he knows where the Cowboy hot take is.
Love it. Love you, Dan Orlovsky.
He knows where that is. Colin Cowherd, they know where the hot takes are. They know where their bread is buttered. It cracks me up when Baker Mayfield can lead a game-winning drive on 2 days of preparation to beat the Raiders on Thursday Night Football. Oh God, don't we love ourselves some Thursday Night Football?
I can't decide if this is the Thursday Night Football head shake or the why did you have to go and mention the AFC West head shake?
It's both.
It's your choice of why
it's
I'm
both.
why
This is
I'm
Dr.
saddened
Marco.
by this.
It's both. But no, what cracks me up is Baker Mayfield can lead a game-winning drive, but when Dak Prescott leads a game-winning drive, he was terrible all game, and he played down his competition. Here goes those same old Cowboys. He's overrated. He's overpaid. He has no business being a top 10 quarterback. He's a bus driver. He's a game manager, flats and checkdowns, whatever Shady McCoy wants to say on speak. The goalposts are always moved for Dak Prescott. And it's not so much of who he is, it's who he plays for. If Dak Prescott played for the Dolphins, insert any team other than Dallas. I'm not even going to run down the other 31 teams. If he played anywhere but Dallas, Dak Prescott would be beloved, just like Josh Herbert is, just like Jimmy Garoppolo's getting love this year. And now, and most recently, Baker Mayfield. They constantly move the goalposts for Dak Prescott, especially on the national media. But rest assured, Cowboy Nation, real Cowboy Nation, not the front runners, they love Dak. I love Dak. I will cape for Dak. Dak is my guy. A fourth rounder from Mississippi State. I don't know how many NFL players he actually played with from Mississippi State, aside from Preston Smith and maybe Darius Slay. Other than 2 players, how many NFL players this guy did even play with in college? But he's now in the pros. He's the best quarterback Dallas has had since Troy Aikman. I'll put him past Romo.
Wow.
And I put him past Romo for this reason. Recently, I'll end on this note before we wrap things up. The Dallas Cowboys just recently, as of yesterday, when they defeated the Texans, back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time since 1996. Romo never did that. Aikman was the last one to do it.
Wow. All right.
And insert 2 terrible coaching hires with Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett, who's still clapping. Dallas Cowboy fans, Dak Prescott is your only hope to catch Philly or to even beat Philly or beat the Niners or beat anybody to end the championship drought of 27 going on 28 years in Dallas and give them their 6th Lombardi. Can I get a round of applause for myself? Can I get a round of applause for Dak Prescott? Can I get a how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
One more point, and then we'll close it up.
If I can just add,
Yes, please.
two things on the
Please,
Cowboys
please.
here. So first of all, I'm with you 100%, and I think what most people are forgetting, if you have that take that they were playing down to the Texans level, you weren't watching the game, because there's bad NFL football, and then there's what genuinely looks like somebody is figuring out how to play Madden for the first time.
Savage, please.
Savage.
You can't fault the Cowboys for literally not understanding how to defend a play that doesn't look. That last play where I don't even know, because at that point they had multiple quarterbacks going, so I don't even know who it was, but whoever that was who did multiple pirouettes and then just ran into a defensive tackle's stomach. Was that Jeff Driscoll at that point?
Yeah, it was.
How can you fault the Cowboys for not knowing which way he was going to ballerina at that point? How is that the Cowboys' fault?
We have been hoodwinked.
All of Stephen A. Smith. Shout out to the No Mercy podcast.
There it is. It is on. You can't fault them for just watching. It's rubbernecking. They weren't playing down to their level. They were rubbernecking. They were watching a car crash and didn't fully know what to do. So I can't fault them too much. They will be back in action next week. The other stat, I don't know if you saw the stat real quick, but a fun Cowboy one. ESPN had its odds for being in the Super Bowl, odds for winning the Super Bowl. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did.
And the Cowboys were pretty high. They were what were they in the high 40s or
they were in the high 40s,
somewhere
high
in that
40s,
range?
high 40s, low 50s, high 40s.
And so what that's basically saying is it's the Eagles-Cowboys rest of field, especially after Garoppolo got hurt, which I don't necessarily disagree with. But here's where it was interesting for my non-stat people out there. If you've never watched this, by the way, big stat nerd right here, love breaking these things down. They were the only NFC team, and actually even more than some of the AFC teams, their odds to win the Super Bowl was in the low 30s. Meaning, not that they're going to win the Super Bowl a third of the time if we keep doing the season, meaning if they get into the Super Bowl because their win number was more than half their get-in number, it means that if they get into the Super Bowl, they'd be a favorite. That's how you can basically interpret that stat. The other NFC teams didn't have that. What ESPN is basically telling you is that the Cowboys are built in such a way that they can play with the big boys of the AFC the way that the other teams can't. And as a Cowboy fan, you should be very, very thrilled about that. And as just a casual observer, they're not wrong. You have two starting running backs. You have a very good wide receiver. And like we said, almost every episode, you have an elite defender at every level. I mean, it's hard to not have something on Dallas that can expose the other team's weakness because at every level you have a very, very good, if not great player. And that's hard to beat.
Agreed. That's Mongo. Make some noise. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, like the video. Oh, can I get another Ric Flair? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all platforms, U-Goboy88 on TikTok, IG, Facebook, u-goboy.com. We got music out. Jonah the Great, Juice vs. Sauce, 5-Star Dancer, Bruce Wayne Money, Tippin'. Can I get another Ric Flair woo? Oh, yeah. And by the way, T.Y. Hilton just signed with the Cowboys, so that should be fun.
Oh, wow.
That should be fun. So yes, that bolsters the receiving core. No more
news.
Notice, I didn't talk about OBJ. I refuse to. The circus has left the building. No more OBJ talk.
I do regret, though, not talking about Noah Brown. There were some fantastic catches.
Agreed.
Shout out to Noah Brown.
Noah Brown gets some love. He gets some love on the pod. But yes, next time we meet up, Mongo will be back for more sports talk. We'll preview the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. Oh, my God. The tournament. I call it the tournament. I don't call it the playoffs. It's the tournament or Hunger Games, however you want to put it. It should be fun. It should be fun. I don't know who the hell's going to win this year. And that's good. I like it that way. You know what? I like
with
it
you on that.
Makes for good TV. But we're going to sign off like this as always. That's the belt. That's the other belt. That's Mongo. I'm U-Goboy. We love you guys. Yahtzee.
Whoa. Hey, this a vibe, nigga, whoa. Woo, secure the bag, I need more. Hey, 3P, Jordan, whoa. Woo, I can't keep it on a low. This a whole vibe, I don't need a plug, no cosign. Thinking out loud, that's a gold mine. Mask on, yeah, COVID-19. Baby mama, yeah, looking like Rihanna. Rest in peace to George, rest in peace Brianna. Still kicking like Van Damme, with my niggas in Amsterdam.
You go, boy.
Yahtzee.